In this video, we're going to talk about something you might be doing without even realizing it. Shrinking, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Holding yourself back just to make others feel at ease. But here's what I learned. Most people don't shrink because they're weak. They shrink because they've been conditioned to believe it's safer that way. My name is Mark Smith. I'm a psychology major and I'm currently enlisted in the United States Army. The reason I'm creating this video, and many more like it, is because I want to share what I'm learning in real time. My hope is to help people wake up to the life they were meant to live. So I started asking myself, what would it look like to stop shrinking and to start showing up fully? Not just pretending to be confident, but really owning who I am. And what I found were 5 big reasons we shrink and 3 mindset shifts that helped me break free. Let's start with the why. Why do people shrink? We don't shrink because we're weak. We shrink because somewhere along the way, we were taught that being small was safer. For some of us, it started early. We were told we were too loud, too ambitious, too sensitive, or too much. So we started editing ourselves. We learned that approval often comes with conditions. Be agreeable. Don't challenge authority. Don't make others uncomfortable. Stay in your lane. But here's the thing, shrinking isn't natural, it's learned. It's a survival mechanism passed down through culture, trauma, and even family. Let's break down the most common reasons why we do it. Number 1, fear of rejection. At our core, we want to belong. That's hardwired into us. We're social beings. So we scan for what's acceptable, what's rewarded, and what's too much. When we sense that our full selves might threaten connections, we start to mask. We shrink not because we're afraid of success, but because we're afraid of being alone because of that success. The internal voice says, if I show too much of myself, I might get left out. If I take up too much space, I might get pushed out. So we quiet our opinions. We keep our wins to ourselves, and we settle for belonging that's based on performance. Number 2, people-pleasing and the fawn response. If you've ever been told to calm down, stop overthinking, or just be normal, you might have internalized that who you are naturally is not okay. This often leads to what psychology calls the fawn response, the instinct to appease, please, and adapt to avoid conflict. You start shape-shifting just to feel safe. You lower your standards to keep the peace. You say yes when in your heart you really want to say no. You become easygoing, agreeable even, not because it's who you are, but because it's safer than rocking the boat. This isn't weakness, it's protection. But over time, it disconnects you from your truth. Number 3, imposter syndrome. Even when you've put in the work, gotten the degree, or built the skills, something inside you still whispers, who do you think you are? What if they find out you don't belong here? So instead of walking in our worth, we water it down. We defer to others. We downplay our competence. We shrink to avoid being seen too closely, as if success is an accident, not a result of our preparation. Number 4, fear of judgment or alienation. Some of us were conditioned to believe that shining too brightly makes others uncomfortable. And that discomfort, it gets redirected towards us through envy, criticism, or isolation. So what do? We start censoring our joy. We hide our ambition. We sabotage our momentum so we can blend in and stay relatable. But the truth is, making yourself smaller won't protect you from judgment. It'll just leave you frustrated and unseen. Number 5, cognitive dissonance and eternal conflict. There's a version of you that knows exactly who you are and a version of you that you've learned to perform. When those two don't align, it creates cognitive dissonance, mental tension between truth and behavior. That dissonance is draining. It feels like you're successful, but secretly you're unfulfilled. You're surrounded by people, but deeply lonely. You're smiling, but dying to scream. Eventually, the weight of living a half-truth life becomes unbearable. And if left unchecked, it shows up as anxiety, burnout, or even self-destruction. Shrinking is a survival habit, but it's not a sustainable one. And the longer you do it, the more your real self starts to fade into the background. But here's the good news. If shrinking is learned, unshrinking can be practiced. Let's get into the 3 mindset shifts that help me stop shrinking and start standing tall. Shift number 1, shrinking doesn't protect you, it erases you. Every time you minimize your presence, you lose a piece of your voice. And the longer you do it, the harder it becomes to recognize yourself. We think that if we just blend in or go with the flow, we'll avoid criticism. We think that staying quiet will keep us safe, but in reality, it keeps us small. It erases us from the rooms where we were meant to lead. There were times in my life where I had something to say, a perspective that could have changed the direction of the conversation, a solution that could have helped the team, a truth that needed to be spoken, but I stayed silent. And every time I did, I felt myself drifting further away from who I truly was. The more you shrink, the more you disappear. Jim Carrey once said, "Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory." This is a very powerful quote because it's nothing about being loud or flashy. It's about showing up fully. Speak up in that meeting, share your ideas, post your content, set the boundary, take up space, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because every time you do, you cast a vote for the version of you that refuses to disappear. Shift number 2. Not everyone is supposed to be comfortable with your growth. Growth is uncomfortable, not just for you, but for the people around you. Because when you start evolving, you break the unspoken agreement of who you've always been. Some people liked you when you played small, when you were that friend who never said no, when you stayed quiet and didn't outgrow the circle. But growth exposes what's stagnant, and it can make people feel insecure. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you became a mirror for what they're avoiding. And that's not your fault. You're not responsible for how others respond to your progress. Marianne Williamson says, "There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. You were never meant to stay the version of yourself that kept others comfortable. You were meant to evolve, to shed layers, rise higher, and to step into your calling. And yes, it might cost you some relationships, but the truth is, if someone only supports you when you're small, they were never really there for you. Let your growth filter your circle. The right people won't just tolerate your shine, they'll fan the flame." Shift number 3. Dimming your light won't make the room brighter. There's a lie a lot of us have been told, especially if we grew up in environments where confidence was mistaken for arrogance. Don't be too much. Don't outshine others. Stay humble, which really means stay quiet. So we tone it down. We stop celebrating ourselves. We hide our wins and minimize our success, thinking that playing small will keep the peace. But it doesn't. All it does is rob the room of your light and rob you of your impact. Roy T. Bennett wrote, "Shine your light and make a positive impact on the world. There is nothing so honorable as helping improve the lives of others. When you shine, you give others permission to do the same." Think about who inspires you the most. Is it the person who hides in the background or the one who owns their presence, walks in purpose, and leads by example? You don't have to be perfect to inspire someone. You just have to be real. So instead of dimming your light to make others feel comfortable, use it to show them what's possible. And here's how to start. Share your story, even the messy parts. Stop apologizing for your standards. Own your progress, even if it makes others uncomfortable. You were given your light for a reason. Don't hide it. Don't water it down. Let your light shine boldly. You didn't come this far just to shrink. You didn't survive where you survived just to disappear. You didn't grow only to make yourself small. So here's a question. Where in your life have you been shrinking? And what would it look like to take one bold step to make it stop? Where would your life be right now? And what version of you would you become if you stopped shrinking? Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.